TruthSeekah and or its affiliates are not responsible for any strange phenomena that may occur during or after listening to this podcast, which may include the following: heightened senses of awareness, psychic abilities, UFO sightings, alien contact, time loss, out-of-body experiences, ringing in the ears, ESP, lucid dreaming, increased synchronicities, astral projection, telepathy, stronger intuition, levitation, miraculous healings, and or remote viewing. Please be advised to listen at your own discretion.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the TruthSeekah podcast.
Gargoyles, psychics, everything's ungodly. Dark's at it.
Streaming live at TruthSeekah.com.
She's not a Christian.
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in dark's at it stuff.
And now, your host, TruthSeekah.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How are y'all doing? I'm excited, delighted to be with you guys. As always, for another amazing podcast. We cover all things spiritual. We're going to get it in. Buckle up. It's going to be good. Huge shout out to everybody hanging out with us live on the live stream, no matter where you're watching. Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, wherever you are, man. Shout out to you. Everybody over at Twitch. I say everybody over at Twitch. There's like 2 or 3 people at Twitch. D-Live, all those places, man. Shout out to you guys. And shout out to everybody listening to this on the podcasting apps as well, man. I know there's hundreds of you guys out there listening. So, man, shout out to you no matter where you are. You guys make this thing happen. So, also, another shout out to all the Patreon supporters, everybody who's been supporting my work via Patreon and helps this thing come to the table. You guys are co-creators. It doesn't exist without your help. And we have people that have been supporting for years, man, just behind the scenes, helping me fund this stuff and take it to the next level and consistency and doing it better and better and better and working on the music and courses and everything that I'm doing, man. You guys share in anything good that comes from this platform. And also the bad stuff too. It's your fault. I blame you guys. I want to give a shout out to some of the latest supporters within the last week or so. Shout out to Lena. Thank you for coming on. Fox and Shayna Allen, man. Thank you guys for believing in the work. If you'd like to support, you can go to patreon.com/TruthSeekah. There you get access to my entire discography of music. It's 200 plus songs. All the new stuff that I'm working on. Behind the scenes stuff, extra stuff, all that. You can check it out there, patreon.com/TruthSeekah. Also, we have another platform that we've been working on that hosts other creators, and we're going to be hosting webinars and conferences and courses and a bunch of really cool stuff as well. So that is the Mystic Circle. It's themysticcircle.net. We have a new podcast that's going to be coming out. It's going to be a roundtable discussion with myself and a couple other mystics. And if you want to check that out, go to themysticcircle.net. We have our first online webinar conference coming up, which is March the 25th over there. And we're going to have Dee Wallace, which is the mom from E.T., and she was the mom from Cujo and the Scream Queen from the 80s and 90s. And she was in Critters and, oh man, so much more. All the big horror movies back in the day, she was in it. But now she's an energy healer. She does one-on-one sessions with people and just learning and or teaching people how to tap into their own intuition with the use of pendulums and divination and a bunch of really cool stuff that she's bringing to the table. I had her on my show, and I thought it was so cool to be able to talk to the mom from E.T. about E.T.s. I thought that was awesome, about alien contact and all that. So anyway, March the 25th will be our first official online conference webinar. Go to themysticcircle.net to get access to it. You also get my meditations and as well as all my friends' meditations as well. Bunch of really cool stuff over there. Check it out. We also have a concert coming up. My concert is March the 20th. So for those of you who are in the area or want to travel, we're doing a house show. It's March the 20th in Mobile, Alabama as well. All that info is at TruthSeekah.com. We also have another retreat coming up. Seating is limited if you'd like to get in on our Reset, Refresh, and Renew retreat. So all that's there. Also speaking about the concert, one of the tiers of when we reach 200 patrons, we're going to do a private concert. So we're at like 186 right now. And so once we hit 200, I'm going to do a private concert for all the patrons, and it'll be by request. Whatever songs that you guys want to hear, we'll take the request and we'll do those songs. So we're about a few away, but 14 away, I guess it is. And once we hit 200 patrons, man, we're going to do a private concert. So check it out. All that cool stuff coming up. Patreon.com, TruthSeekah.com, themysticcircle.net, all that. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into today's conversation. My guest today is Tyrone Brown. Tyrone, welcome to the TruthSeekah podcast, my friend. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing good, man. And it's funny you mentioned you met with the woman who was the E.T. mom.
Yeah.
That's the first movie I saw in a movie theater back in 1982.
In the theater, wow. So it holds a special place in your heart too, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
That's what's up. Yeah, surreal, man. How the Matrix works, dude. Watching that movie and scared to death of it. E.T. was like scary at the time, and but now having to talk with not only her. For me, it's been a lot of people. People we look up to now that we find out that they are just people and are accessible, and we can have conversations and talk with them if we create a podcast and send an email. It's really, really interesting.
Definitely.
So we're going to get it in, man. We're going to talk about aliens. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Want to pick your brain about dreams. And this is something that you bring to the table, teaching people how to decode their dreams and manifest their reality through paying attention to signs and symbols within the dream. So I want to go in deep with you on that. But I do want to talk about the alien stuff as well. So I guess for those people who don't know who you are, just kind of do an introduction, what you bring to the table, that kind of thing. We'll start there.
Yeah, my name's Tyrone. Go by Ty for short. And with the dreams, how I got into dreams was when I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. I remember having memory of dreams at an early age. By the time I got 14, I stumbled upon this esoteric store. Didn't even know it was a thing. They had crystals and psychic readings, and they had books. And I discovered astral travel books and dream books. And I realized, this is actually a thing. So I read about dreams. Ever since I was 14, I've been decoding my dreams and learning from them. And ultimately, life led me down a magic path just through synchronistic events and as you can call them, metaphysical events, just events that showed me that there's much more to reality than what we see and feel and hear right here. Ultimately led me down the path of studying shamanism and energy healing. And then that just opened the gate even more with the dreams and visions and the whole thing that I now teach and talk like while I'm here now today.
Yeah. So you pretty much do it all, huh?
Yeah, but I've done so many things in the past. Yeah, but yeah, that's it's just life just put me in this path. It's not something I could explain. It was just a happening.
I like to talk about the genesis and how you got into it. Was that it? Just walking into that store just opened up a lot of things in your life, seeing this material, getting these books and lucid dreaming, and is that what started it, or did you have any conflict? Was there any hardships or going down the wrong path with it or anything like that when you were younger?
Yeah, so probably like a lot of people that are tuned in and to you that are drawn here are probably very similar in the sense that feel a little different than the masses. There's just some things like you maybe see the world a little differently. You're open to things more than maybe the average person. And I always felt that as a kid too. And so now to discover this store and spiritual books and esoteric and metaphysical stuff, it really just like showed me that, I'm not crazy in my head. There's actually a whole other world that exists that's going on here. And And I never went down like a dark path with it, but it's definitely a journey. You discover, okay, there's this whole path of, I'll just call it spiritual awakening, becoming aware, waking up out of the matrix. And that process, I went through a militant phase for a while where I was waking up at 5 a.m., meditating for 2 hours every day.
Oh, yeah.
And it was militant. And it served its purpose for a time, but it wasn't sustainable. So now, long story short, I've learned to, not be so strict, to take what I've learned, but to also be in the world. There's a quote, I don't know if it's a Buddha quote or something, be in the world, but not of the world.
Yeah, it's Jesus. Yeah.
Jesus, that's it, Jesus. I'm glad you were able to point that to the right person.
Yeah, that's it, man. And or that, or like, being so spiritual that earthly good. That's all you're doing is meditating. All you're doing is hanging out with ETs and spirit beings and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was me for a while. I'm glad to have found my ground. So yeah, right. I think it's a pretty natural process. You fully immerse in it and you get strict to it, but then you realize you can enjoy this world too. And yeah, definitely.
I had a lyric in one of my songs, when Guardium Leviosa, that says, excommunicated, now my only friends are spirits who speak to me and when I'm lonely and understand the way that I'm feeling. So it's like, sometimes,
love that.
And really thinking about that too, when I got into the occult, which led me down a dark path just because I was a misguided teen. And I was, I was 13 getting into the stuff as well. But I went down the dark path and met a warlock and taught us all kind of weird stuff, trying to talk to demons and stuff like that. And a lot of those things that I was doing, like I was at home alone, living in the woods, and I'd be at home, for days by myself. And I would do try to summon demons so I can have friends, dude. Like I wanted them to show up just so they'll hang out with me. And when I really look back at it, it's like, dang, ended up opening up those doors and portals just because I was lonely, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I need somebody to talk
That's pretty
to.
wild.
So we have to be able to, have conversations and be regular people too. And that's hard to balance for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. And that's interesting to hear that part of your story. That it's like the stuff we learn and that it's the stuff we're taught as fantasy as a kid. We realize that's actually more what real life is like.
Yeah.
It's kind of backwards.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I remember when I wanted it to be real, and it was like, oh yeah, this is just fake. It's fake. And then it's like, no, it is real. And it's like, oh wow, it really is real. Like these powers, telekinesis, shooting fire out your hands, all that stuff is legit. Aliens are real, and all of this stuff. And so it opens up a whole nother world of recapturing that dream, like the alchemist, of what you let go, what was fantasy, is now your reality.
Yeah.
So
and there's a whole reason behind why we're so disconnected from that, which that you can just sum it up to the Matrix.
Well, thank God for movies though, you know what I'm saying? Because E.T. and those movies, and there's so many more. Alien movies were huge back in the day, especially the good alien movies. There's so much horror movies too, but movies about
Close
magic
Encounters.
and Close Encounters, supernatural abilities and X-Men and all this kind of stuff that kind of lit that, that hope for the supernatural to be real. And then it's it's not real. None of it's real. Then you find out that it is. I'm telling you, movies and all of that stuff has a great way of birthing something within your spirit of something that is real that you were told isn't. I mean, even looking at the movie Avatar, and there was a phenomena that happened with that movie, and people were a lot of people got depressed because they felt like they were a part of this world. That movie was so magical. It pulled them in with magic. And if you pay attention to that movie, there's dream symbolism, there's shamanism, there's Kundalini yoga. There's a lot of stuff in there that is legit. So it's not like this fake world that doesn't exist. It's something that you can actually engage with, something very similar, and you find out that it's real. But a lot of people got depressed after watching that movie, because they opened up this world, then they had to kind of say goodbye. It's kind of strange.
Yeah. Actually, I'll share. It connects to dreams to that movie right now. I'll just throw it in there.
Let's go.
And that's so the blue people, the Na'vi people. That's what they're called, the Na'vi people of Avatar. So the inspiration for them that James Cameron had was from a dream that his mother had. So James Cameron's mom had a dream that she met with a 12-foot tall, blue-skinned extraterrestrial being. she told the dream to her son, and he created them as the characters for this movie Avatar.
Wow.
And where I come from with my perspective and my experiences is that, and James Cameron's mom, if you're listening, get in touch, that she may have actually met with in the astral plane, in an astral plane, somewhere in the astral world, an actual being. Mm-hmm. Like that blue skin being may have been an actual real encounter and not just some dream subconscious projection.
That's good. Well, let's go into the dream stuff, and because you mentioned dreams and shamanism, and I really believe that a true shaman is someone who's just simply able to go into the dream state, whether it's induced or you're going in every night lucid, and pull stuff out and birth it into this reality. So for me, I think it's that simple of what a shaman is. Now, whether we're doing that through trance, meditation, breath work, or the dream state, because all of that other stuff is hacking the dream state essentially. So, what is it for you that maybe that early thing, again, you found a book about lucid dreaming and stuff. What made it real for you to know that there's something to this, going into the dreams lucid?
Yeah, no, it was kind of a combination of like synchronicities in the waking life, and also like having these little premonition dreams, or you could call them psychic dreams, premonition dreams.
Yeah.
Those little things, like, you have a dream of someone you hadn't seen in a long time, you see them the next day, a real simple one. Or you have a dream of a frog and you haven't seen a frog in forever, and all of a sudden you look down, there's a frog at your feet, and that actually triggers the memory of the dream.
Yeah.
Little things like that I see as little winks from the universe. You just call it winks from God, winks from, just it's something that's nudging you in the direction of like, start paying attention, pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to your feelings, your intuition. Like pay attention to these things. There's more here. And what you said there with the being a shaman, same thing. Same thoughts I have is that, we can become our own shaman, because it is as simple as that. We have that ability every night when we sleep. We're having dreams, we're having visions. Now, if we're remembering them, then we're bringing them back. Again, there's a definition of a shaman, like you said, bringing back information from the other side and sharing that information.
Yeah. So I guess figuring out how to do it for yourself, like as far as finding your purpose and all of that kind of stuff. And was that something that happened in the dream state as well? Like on maybe even getting direction on how to do things?
Yeah, it was a combination of, when I studied shamanism with these particular two teachers, they gave me some insights around dreams as well. And then, then I started realizing that I started having dreams that didn't seem like normal dreams. It seemed more real. And I could even go as far as saying they seem more mundane, just like your everyday life. If you're having a conversation with someone, but maybe they're human, maybe they're not. Maybe you're having a conversation with an animal or a tree in the dream space, in the dream, but you're being taught information. So I see those as direct message dreams, DM dreams. It's just straight up, here's some wisdom for you to apply to your life. So we can get these direct message dreams, and dreams like that started really like catching my attention of like, there is definitely, this stuff isn't random. There's something here. Like every night we're getting breadcrumbs to like towards whatever we want to accomplish in life, whatever challenges that we have, every single night, whatever we want to do, be, attract, get over, transcend, it's all showing up in our dreams. Everything, all there.
Yeah, I mean, I've had them too, like just the little things. I found it really weird when I would have this thing, and it started happening quite regularly. Is I would have a dream, and then like most people, you wake up and you forget it until whether it was a dream of the frog or whatever. But I remember, for one, it was I woke up really early to go to work, and I'm at work at like 3 a.m. We're moving boxes and all that stuff in the warehouse, and we got the radio on. All of a sudden, the band Sublime comes on the radio, and I hear the song, and all of a sudden, I'm transported back to my dream. And in the dream that night, I was at a Sublime concert, and that first note or that lyric that they were singing, I was in the crowd, and it was this long, drawn-out dream of me at a Sublime concert that I forgot about until something triggered all of these memories that I had about the concert that was in the dream state. Like, it's really strange how we see things and it triggers something in our deeper inner knowing. And that was something that I dreamed that night. Now, what about, stuff that's coded within our DNA? You're talking about remembering dreams when you were little and having these weird memories come to you and stuff like that. Like, but it's something that triggers it, and we may not be able to articulate it. We don't know what it is until we start exploring these memories and these premonitions and these, deja vus and things like that,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, man. It's like those, like I said, little winks from the universe. You hear the song, and then that reminds you of your dream, and it's just like that's a psychic dream in a sense. Yeah. In a sense, it could be, but it's I'm trying to see where I want to go with this, but
yeah, it was just the phenomena of like having all these thoughts, and I'm not really a big past life guy. I'm kind of vocal about it, but I guess it would work the same way. Like you didn't, like if it is true, past lives or something, like something triggers you to remember all of this stuff, that you forgot about. I forgot about the Sublime concert,
but it's in there.
Yeah. And something
memories in there
triggered it and woke it up. And we're going back to like, even if it's not past life stuff, let's go to like DNA stuff that's encoded within your DNA, the supernatural, the watching this movie, and then, okay, here comes the credits and it was just a movie. And you're like, oh man, I feel a connection with this that's deeper than just a movie,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And like that's again, that sublime experience. It's like, that's, it's I'm sorry, I'm getting a little lost in my words here. But it's showing you that there is no time. Yeah. Really. All time exists now, because you have a dream of something that happens the next day. Yeah. For example, like a psychic dream or something. That's really showing you that it's all just existing here and now.
Now, what about those things that you need to do? Like, you're not doing something and it keeps coming up in your dream, because I have that a lot. Or you're doing something wrong, or you're procrastinating, not taking that next step, and then you're just like plagued by it in the dream state until you take that next step.
Yeah, so you keep having the same dream. It might be the same, or it might be the same theme. Yeah, but different setting, different actors,
different people, but the same scenario. Yeah.
Yeah, because the core in the dream is the feelings that it's evoking. It's the core message. Of course, the imagery can be important, but the main thing to pull from the dream is, what were my feelings in that dream? Because that's the imagery is there to evoke the feelings that are within. So, for example, if there's stress or anxiety around something, keep showing up. It keeps showing up because it's there, and there's some part of you that wants you to see it, so you can look at it and be like, all right, this is not serving me anymore. Let's move beyond this. Okay, let's move forward. And yeah, so it'll just keep showing up until you look at it. So, yesterday I was in a conversation with someone. They were talking about, wanting to stop their nightmares. I was like, oh, and they were calling them bad dreams. And so, you know what? Actually, bad dreams are actually good. If you want to use the words good and bad, they're actually good, because they're there to show you something that's running a predominant thought pattern and belief that's no longer serving you. It keeps running. It's there so you can look at it.
Try to figure out what it is, though, right?
That's it.
Do you think a lot of times we already know? I mean, I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times I'll have a dream. I don't know if it's just I have a gift, or I know what the symbolism is because I'm conscious of it. Obviously, not everybody knows, but what do you think about that? People already knowing, and then someone having to like, hey, I need help with this dream and figuring it out,
So you're saying like some part of us already knows what the answer is?
Not everybody. I mean, that's obvious, because I've been there too. I've had to like sit down and talk to people and draw stuff out and write the dream out, and they broke it down for me at interpretation. Yeah. But maybe since that I'm conscious now, a lot of times when I have those dreams, I already know. Like I wake up and say, okay, that snake that bit me really represented this friendship of this person who is a snake. You know what I'm saying? Or the tornado that was headed towards my house represents this thing that I'm involved with that I need to get out of, or it's going to wreck my life. You know what I'm saying? Like these symbolism. Yeah. But I guess at first, especially when I was younger, I didn't know. I would have weird prophetic dreams, and I have to talk to somebody to get it out. So I don't know. Some people know. Maybe it's that the inner knowing, or you probably got to be trained in this, though, right? I mean, I didn't know it early on.
Yeah, I feel like if there's anxiety dreams coming up, we may not be looking at the dream and connecting it to anxiety until we realize that that's something you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel a lot of us do know, if we really sat down and trust what we feel, that a lot of us know a lot more than we give ourselves credit for. Like, we know that job's not really for us, or we know
I feel
that
stuck.
this relationship's not so good, or we know that maybe I shouldn't drink 20 cups of coffee a day. I'm exaggerating, but like, we know these things and they're showing up in our dreams. But as far as translating goes or interpreting goes, I like to encourage people to not look up symbols online. If you get stuck, sure, go ahead. I'm not anti looking up, like, definitely, but start first to tune into yourself. And you look at a symbol like you said, the snake biting could represent this friendship, or just look at the symbols, the snake, the frog, the lion, the people in your dreams. What do they represent to you?
Yeah.
Because one of the examples I give often is a lion, like someone who's born in a place where they live in a jungle where lions are real, or like in the desert somewhere where lions are a real threat. Somewhere in, like,
it means something totally different.
Yep. And they grew up, and they've heard stories of people, members of their tribe, being taken by lions.
Yep.
So if they go out past sunset, they always go in groups, and they're always very vigilant and aware of their surroundings.
Yeah.
Because to them, a lion might represent fear and danger and worry, but to someone whose parents were rescued lions and rescued lion cubs and raised them, who got to cuddle lions, to her, lions' dreams might represent something completely different to someone who saw them as a threat.
Yeah. Man, I study and teach it from a biblical perspective. And I feel like you have to be able to teach if you're going to do symbolism, which it plays a huge part, the signs and symbols throughout the dream, that you have to have the duality. You can't say, like, okay, just because, again, the lion, that is something that's a threat, you need to run. The lion represents this. With every symbol, I think you have to have the duality, but probably even more than just, duality is, up and down, positive, negative. Maybe it's, left and right as well. Because, in the scriptures, when it talks about a lion, you have Jesus represents the lion, the conquering lion from the tribe of Judah. And from Narnia, you have Aslan, which was this Christ figure, which was a lion, and the conquering lion. And so, but then you have scriptures that talk about how Satan, your adversary, creeps around like a roaring lion, seeking to whom he may devour. So for somebody who only knows who only sees, Satan as a lion that's trying to get me, you're going to see those dreams and you're automatically going to interpret it as something negative. The same thing with snakes. The snakes are something that is poisonous, that's trying to bite you. Also, snakes are synonymous with wisdom. The wisdom keepers. I'm trying to give you wisdom, but you're running from this wisdom. So you really got to interpret the fullness of the dream and where you are in life too. And you got to teach those. You have to teach duality with the symbolism.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to write these things out too. When you're writing your dreams out, just break it down. Like you said, break it down. Like, okay, there was a snake, and then this happened, and just break down each piece. Like, okay, what does this represent to me? What were my feelings in the dream? So what the object represents to me, and what were the feelings about it in the dream? And the picture will paint itself for you in front of you, and you'll put a picture together. And once you put this picture together from your dream, I like to take it another step further and take whatever that message is and like consolidate it into like a one-liner, like a one word, few words. That's some sort of affirmation, positive quote, mantra, and put that somewhere you're going to see it a few times a day. Because now we're taking, not just writing down our dreams in our journal, let it collect dust. Now we're taking that wisdom we're learning and seeing it every day. And now we're applying it to our daily life. Yep. That's where the change and growth happens versus just writing it down and being entertained by it. It's like, be entertained by it, but also let's do this.
Well, yeah, there's a process of, again, the shaman or whatever, pulling this thing out of your dream. Like it's just an idea. It's just something that exists in the ethers. It's a possibility of your journey. But if you just leave it there, it's going to stay there. So having these practices of writing it down, of reminding yourself is huge. I'm big on that. But actually these steps to pull it out, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Now, what is lucid dreaming? Because you mentioned lucid dreaming and being lucid in a dream. What is like going into a dream with intention? Is it just for fun? Is it to look for clues? What exactly is lucid dreaming?
Okay, yeah, and I also say you mentioned intention too. So even just with regular dreaming, you can set an intention to receive information about a specific thing that you want some information around. And if you don't receive it the first night, just stick with that intention and just know that you'll receive the answer when the time is right for you. But that's set an intention. You can set an intention to get song inspiration, like to get a new beat, to get some lyrics.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've done this myself.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
I wouldn't say that I set the intention, but I woke up with those lyrics. I'll say that. I woke, and I had to hurry up and get them out of me because I knew they would disappear,
Yep, that's it. It's fun when that happens too.
Yeah.
And, Paul McCartney, the song "Yesterday, All My Troubles Seem So Far Away."
Mm-hmm.
That song, the melody for that song came to Paul McCartney in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Beatles all together completed the song, but they got the start of it from a dream. But yeah, so then with lucid dreaming, lucid being you're aware that you're in a dream. So you're in your dream and you're like, hey, I'm in a dream. Let me fly, let me go visit this place. And also being lucid in life. So I find they both feed each other. So as you start to practice being more and more present in your waking life, you're more likely to lucid dream. And as you practice lucid dreaming, you also start to become more lucid and present in your waking life. And so with me, I've been doing a lot of mindfulness practice for many years and just always coming back to being present, being present, being present. So often I'm not any longer trying techniques to get into a lucid dream. But what happens is I'll just be aware enough, often, not always, that I'll see something change. Most recently I saw a cup on the table change color when I looked away and looked back. So, hey, I thought, okay, I'm either tripping or I'm in a dream. And I was in a dream. So then I became lucid because that something was off. So you'll notice that's it. It's it. So actually in the movie Inception, they had they called them totems. A totem would be like any physical object. Here's a pen. The Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Dom Cobbs in the movie, he had a spinning top, little thing you spin.
Yeah.
And so the idea with this is just one of the things you can do to help with lucid dreaming is you pick an object. It could be a crystal. It could be a little crystal or stone or something you have that's small you can keep in your pocket and something you can feel. Like I can feel, okay, there's a little crease here. I know the weight of it. You know the texture of it. So you know what it's like. And so a few times throughout the day, many times throughout the day, put your hand in your pocket and you feel the object. Make note of those little key characteristics of it. Now you've done this so many times throughout your day, not just in one day, you just keep doing this. Now in your dreams, you're likely to reach in your pocket, feel for that stone. Either it's not going to be there or it's going to feel different. It doesn't have to be a stone or a crystal, but it's just any object. And that's how they use that in the movie. And that makes sense?
Yeah.
If I articulated that all right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the other thing is, okay. And there's many techniques that I don't want to go too long into them, but just one basic one. And that is look at the time. So if you have a watch or most people have a phone at least. So if a few times throughout the day, maybe every 3 hours, roughly or so, 3 to 4 hours, look at the time, intentionally look at it, make note. Okay, it's 11:11. Look away, look back. Okay, it's still the same time. And in a dream, when you look back, it's going to change. The number's going to be floating. It's not even going to be your phone anymore. It's going to be some other object. And another thing you can say is just throughout the day is, am I dreaming or am I awake? Mm-hmm. And you can do one of your reality checks. You can touch your object or look at the time. But yeah, am I dreaming or am I awake? The idea though is you need to do one of these techniques, just stick with one and do it day after day after day throughout the day. And it takes some dedication, but that will set the subconscious mind to do it also in your dreams to then trigger you awake.
Let me see if I can try to articulate this or explain the theory.
Yep.
You have, so all of these things we're talking about, these laws in the dream and things that you do, and you're reminded that you're in a dream, and a lot of them are like deja vus and just weird things that happen. But then we're having similar experiences with our eyes open in our day to day. And many people believe this to be a dream or this to be a simulation. I mean, heck, there's theories that the dream world is our real life. And every night that we go, it's another life. But this is the dream. This is the test or whatever. So what about having some of those exercises or, I mean, synchronicities, breadcrumbs, all of that stuff, not in the dreams, but actually happening with our eyes open? Like the laws, and I'd say the lines kind of blur because again, the shaman, so easily goes back and forth fluidly between the realms. And so things bleed over, the synchronicities bleed over, the manifestation bleeds over, the people you haven't talked to and you think about them and there they are, like all of these things, the phone calls that you can feel through psychic abilities, getting good at them. And so there's like the lines between the spirit world, which is the dream world in a sense, right? It's a way we can get there, bleeding over with our eyes open. So a lot of these rules apply, the synchronicities, the matrix. When you look at the black cat that keeps crossing that path every day, like, hold on, something's up, something's going, something is conscious of me, whether it's God, the universe is trying to send me signals, to let me know I'm in this dream, but I'm conscious or something. Can you articulate that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it. I'm glad you took the conversation there because, so I created a course, and in the end of the course, after you learn everything about dreams, I have a final course called The Waking Dream. In short, I just say everything that you've learned about dreams, you can now apply to your waking life. Just what you're saying.
Yeah.
Symbolism, and it's not to overanalyze things and look for signs.
Yeah.
It's just to allow the signs to come to you.
Yeah.
But you start to see, like you said, synchronicities. You think of someone and there they are. It's those line between the dream world and this world starts to fade. And now, so me personally, how I view life, just based on my experiences, is like that. It's basically, it's all here. We call it the dream world, spirit world, physical world. It's all a big world in a sense. Now, there's different vibrations of existence. Why, here at the physical plane, we're at a certain frequency range. So we see and feel the physical things here. And then sometimes higher dimensional beings and crafts can manifest themselves into this vibration, but it's all really all here. It's all just one big party in existence, but you gotta just like different worlds separated by frequency. Even the dream world, astral world.
Because there's levels to it, and there's different, I feel like there's different places in it. It's a different place you go to. I don't know if it's just because you're lucid in a meditation or you're like intentionally doing it, but it's a different place than just going to the dream world, like of where you go through like mindful meditation and trying to receive or talk to God or angels or whatever. Like when you meditate, going in that way versus like, I'm just going to go to sleep and I talk to angels when I sleep. I feel like there's different realms or rooms, if you will, that we can access through breath work, meditation, and sleeping. Even though we're still, it's similar because it's slippery and it's going in through the imagination and the mind and that kind of thing, Are they similar? Are they different? What's your experience with the, mindfulness and going in and encountering beings and just going to sleep kind of thing?
Yeah, there's just said many different worlds. I like how you said many different doors, but yeah, many different doors, many different worlds. And it's just like a TV set. If you plug a TV in a wall right now, put the antennas up, turn the channels, you're going to get all kinds of movies flying all around us right now. Literally, there's all these shows and broadcasts. So based on, you turn to channel 3, you're going to see what exists on channel 3.
Yeah.
Turn to channel 9, you're going to see what exists in channel 9. Those channels are actually frequencies. So frequency that we exist in, we see the frequencies that are on this channel. And then, like you said, through like meditation, breath work, just we can raise our frequency, raise our vibration, in a sense, change the channel, turn the knob up, and now we can perceive some other communication and other realms.
Or you can lower it.
You can lower it too, yes. And I've done that as well. And like you said, you've had those experiences too. And I've definitely encountered lower vibrational beings or more lost souls, but the intent didn't feel good. So yeah, you can go either direction.
Man, I remember, I guess when I got into lucid dreaming without knowing what it was, just being lucid in a dream, I'll say that, was when I was a kid. And this was at an early age, just kind of trained in my mind to do this. Was like, I was obsessed with horror movies. I still like a good horror movie, but I was obsessed with them as a kid, so much so when I turn the lights off, I'm scared to death. I think they're under my bed, in my closet, coming down the hallway. We did that for fun, just to feel alive and just intrigued by that genre. And but I was plagued with nightmares. Like, almost every night was a nightmare. Critters, Jason, Freddy, demons, gremlins, all of them, every night. So I got to the point where it would happen so much to, like, if one of those monsters was chasing me in a dream, they would grab me, and I'll try to get away from them, because if they can take me somewhere and torture me, and I got to put up with it and see them and all that kind of stuff. You're trying to run, you're trying to get away. Obviously, that's natural. But eventually I learned to go ahead and kill myself in a dream. And so I would do this, a couple of different things. I remember running and diving headfirst into a rock. Like, if there's a rock, they'd be chasing me, and I would dive into the rock and go ahead and kill myself, so that when I died, I wake up. I pull myself out the dream. And because if they got me, and so it was weird, because in my mind, they knew I was trying to kill myself. They're like, no, we want to keep you here so we can torture you and scare you. And I remember swimming to the bottom of, like, a river and trying to drown myself, because I knew that when I drowned myself in my dream, that I would wake up and be back in my body, and the dream would be over, and they would try to, like, pull me out the water, coming to get me. But it was like this weird of, like, knowing that, okay, this is a dream. If you kill yourself, you'll wake up at an early age, was something very interesting to open the door of lucid dreaming for me, and not even really know it.
Well, that's a pretty wild dreams, man. That itself is like content for a good horror film.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it is Freddy, though. I mean, that's, some of that bleeds over into Freddy, and they were, like, went into the dream state to fight Freddy. You can only fight him in the dream state. And I don't know if you want to comment on anything else on that scenario, but I want to take it a step further with, or for a question. But if you have anything on that lucid dreaming.
Yeah, just that. Yeah, I mean, if you're watching horror films, sometimes you might, watch a movie before you go to sleep, dream of that movie. It's not always just because of that. Sometimes it is, especially as a kid and you're watching horror films. Yeah, you have those fears in there because the brain doesn't register it as fake. The brain registers it as real, even though it's so. They're gonna do that. But sometimes you might have a dream, like you watch an episode of something, and the next day you have a dream similar to it. But it actually, you realize, if you look at it, oh, okay, there's some information there. What happened in the dream. Like, you can actually even look at those dreams. Don't just write them off.
Yeah.
Like, first take a look at them. You might get something out of it.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about too, like, for that, I mean, that was my childhood. That was my fear level. Other kids who have not watched those movies would have maybe the same messages come through their dreams, but their fear is maybe falling off their bike in slow motion. It's gonna hurt, and you have these fears that are coming to you. For me, because of what I'm entertaining with my eyes open, that stuff bleeds over. So my fear, I wouldn't be scared of falling off the bike. I'd get back up and keep going. But for somebody else who doesn't have these levels of grotesque entities that are trying to kill them, like, that doesn't even compute in their mind. So the same message with that fear or abandonment, or something's trying to attack me, or I'm scared to get hurt, will manifest in a different way in the dream, right?
Yeah, that's it. We get the imagery that is going to evoke those feelings for us. Yeah.
So I guess what else I wanted to ask you too, just talking about the horror stuff and the bad dreams and stuff, like, what have you heard or experienced about, because I remember I first heard this from David Wilcock, and I did it and it worked, but just like, there was this weird reoccurring dream of just me being in some kind of weird building, and this monster's trying to get me, and I open up the door and try to get through the door and shut the door so I don't have to face it, and it's trying to get you and you run, and I heard him talk about, like, if you stop and face that thing that's trying to get you, that you have breakthrough, and the nightmare will stop. Like, if you actually fight the monster, or not even fight it, but just turn and face it, face your fears in the dream state, that even in your waking reality, you'll have breakthrough if you face your fears in the dream state.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, everyone's experience is so unique, but that is a common thing to happen. And that's why some people like to practice lucid dreaming. is to be able to do that specifically. Having reoccurring nightmares, practice lucid dreaming and face those fears. Like, it's not even facing the fear. It's just,
Well, it's not a fear
just
anymore.
look at it.
If you face it, right? Like,
that's it. It
conquered
doesn't, you realize it doesn't have power over you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've done this before too. I've been running from something in my dream, mid running, become lucid, turn around and stop.
Yep.
Face it. Yeah. Yeah. And they picked up concrete and fireballs and threw them back at, at like this big beast that was like trying to kill me.
Yeah.
And but just somehow subconsciously, doing that, it's like you just leveled up your power, your self-empowerment.
Yeah.
And so that when you wake up,
yeah,
you've got that leveled up. You got your badge you just earned it in the game. That now gives you extra abilities. When something else comes up, a normal situation in life, you might react to it in a different way, or a way not ideal. You might react to it a little differently, just because you've just given yourself more power.
Yeah. Facing a bully, for many people, it's not a monster; it's a bully that has been, scaring you or intimidating you your whole life, and then you face them in your dreams. You find breakthrough, and it doesn't bother you when you wake up anymore. We got a question here from Jay Marcus. Says, what does it represent in a dream to always be hiding or finding a hiding place?
Yeah, so I mean, it could be, to keep it short, you could look at what am I hiding from? Just reflect on anything in life that you might be hiding from. It might be something external, it might be something internal, but just like, okay, what am I hiding from? What am I hiding from? And if you don't know the answer, don't worry about not knowing. Just put that inner inquiry. Just have that inner inquiry and just be open to that and reflect on it from time to time. And just having that inner inquiry will usually bring about some sort of synchronicity that's going to give you the information you need.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great advice. We're talking about, seeing this stuff as a kid and thinking that it's real, and then it's not real, and then you find out again, no, it is real. Like, this stuff is real. I remember having a friend in elementary school, and I lied to him, but I was like, hey man, they got this new technology, these headsets that you can wear, and we can essentially have the same dream. Like, I can go to sleep and you put this headset on and we'll have the same dream and we can communicate. And I was lying to him. He's like, oh really, man, we need to get it. I was lying. Maybe I was hoping that was real. Obviously, I have a set of VR goggles. If we both wear the same goggles, we're in the dream world that somebody imagined and created with pixels, and we can do whatever. We can rob a bank. The possibilities are endless in VR chat and some of this stuff. It's insane. So essentially, some of that's real there with VR tapping into that reality. But have you heard of intentionally, or people having the same dream, like, hey, let's go to sleep and let's try to lucidly connect in the dream and see if we can talk to each other and communicate telepathically or whatever in the dream state? Have you heard of any of that?
Yeah, there's actually been studies. I can't remember the year this was done, but there have been studies done on lucid dreaming specifically, where they have people pick a point in the physical reality, but in the dream space, somewhere that's actually real, that exists, that they're both familiar with. And in the dream space, they have the intention to go there. Even people that don't know each other in this group, in this study, and that people have been able to show up at the same place, and people even have a memory of seeing each other. They're like, oh yeah, you're like blah, blah, blah. They were able to say what they were doing in the dream and seeing each other. So there's been a study done on that. Myself personally have had 2 shared dreams. It wasn't intentional, but it happened. It happened with the roommate once. We were sharing a room, and it happened with the girlfriend once, where we had the same dream. One time, the roommate, we both had a Spider-Man dream in the same night. We didn't watch it was nothing. We didn't watch Spider-Man, nothing. It was just, we both had different but Spider-Man dreams. With the girlfriend, we both had a dream that the car broke down and we had to go take the tank. So we had the same dream: take the red tank and go pick up gas for the car. So it does happen, and you can intentionally, yes, do that. Often though, one person will remember the encounter and one person won't. That happens a lot.
Can you bring it up?
Yeah, like even if you both sent the intention, like, oh yeah, we were there, I was doing this, and the other person's like, oh, I don't remember. I don't remember seeing that. But it doesn't mean it didn't happen for them. They just didn't bring it back.
Now, what about this feeling of going having dreams and visiting? For me, it was schools. Like I go to different schools in different cities, and and meeting kids and friends at the school, and like and seeing them in other dreams, like hanging out with this group of friends at this different school, almost like you have friends on the other side that show up in other dreams. I don't know if they're just figments of your imagination, of friends that you really want and you create them, or they represent your friends in your waking life that you're going to school with and stuff. But I feel like there's like almost like a world that exists where you have friends in the dream state. There's cities that I visited, and I go back to those cities, back to those schools, yeah. And it's like, oh, I'm in this same city again. I don't know what city it is, but everything looks familiar. And you know, with age and going into the dream state every night, you meet those people again, those friends. Hey, TruthSeekah, what's up, man? And whether you're going to school or going to the mall or something, there's like friends that exist on the other side. What do you think that represents? What is that?
Yeah, well, a lot of times those seem more real versus they don't really seem so like melty and dreamlike. You know, they seem more just like, here we are, just having a chat. You know, and there, like we were saying earlier, there's many planes. Like kind of a catch-all phrase is the astral plane, astral world. But that's not one plane or one world. Yeah. That's just like other dimensions. There's many. And within that, there are worlds that you might visit regularly and remember, like, oh yeah, I've been to this city many times. I've been to that park many times. I've been to this lake many times. In the astral world, I've seen the same person multiple times. And these are real, tangible places within existence that we're going to within the astral world.
Yeah, it's and then again, you have those other dreams too with the friends, like you said, when things are changing in your dreams. Like I'm on this journey or riding in a car with, 5 friends, and then I look, and 30 minutes in, and then they change into different people. It's like, man, you was my brother a while ago. Now you're some random dude, and they're right next to you, and all this stuff's like changing, and the roles are changing in your dreams. Like I thought I was going on a journey with this guy. Now I'm, hanging out with these other people.
Yeah, and that's how you can tell is the difference sometimes when you're like in like an astral world, for example. I mean, it's even the dream states can consider that an astral world as well. But yes, some dreams are like that. Things are changing all the time. Other times they just seem more just real. Like things aren't changing. People are the same. Everything stays as it is. And those are just they even just feel more real. It's often people tell me this. They're like, I had this dream. It just felt so real. It's like those are the dreams that you might meet with a loved one that's passed away, for example. And those often seem more real too.
We got another question here. Cody's asking. He says he has this dream as a kid that he said the wrong thing to somebody and gets shot. And specifically, it was somebody who was preaching damnation in religion, and he told him he was wrong. And then out of nowhere, the guy shoots him. What does that mean? I'll say, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but a lot of times I've heard that guns and bullets represent gossip and talking. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but how would you interpret that if coming against a religious person, you correct them and they shoot you? And it was so weird that it stuck out to him that I got killed from, got shot by this person.
Yeah, I mean, this is why the approach that for dream interpretation of, finding what things represent to you. So it can mean many things, but what I'll just go with one thing here, and that's one of many possibilities is that it could be that maybe there's some, if it's specifically a religious person, that maybe you have some fear, maybe you have thoughts or feelings that are a little different, a little outside of the box. Maybe you have fear of expressing it. Maybe you have fear of being rejected or fear of being attacked for thinking different, speaking different. Again, that's just one of many possibilities. But for yourself who had that dream, just tune into yourself and just see, okay, is there something that do I worry about expressing anything? Am I expressing myself fully? You start to explore around that area, see what comes up.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking your truth, scared to speak your truth because you'll get killed, or You know, whether
Yeah.
it's not literally get killed, but, you know, get disowned or have them talk about you again. Like, hey, stay away from this guy. He doesn't believe what we believe anymore, which is huge in the religious realms anyway.
Yeah.
Got a few minutes left, man. And so I wanted to, you know, one of the things that a subject that's close to your heart too is ufology and UFOs and aliens and those kind of things. What's your experiences? What are your thoughts on UFOs and aliens? Maybe to that, not just in the dream state of these entities or beings that we communicate with there, but maybe physical off-world entities that travel in UFOs or beings that live outside of space that we can see at night or something.
Yeah, for me, it connects right to dreams just based on the way that it came to me. So I'll just share a little synopsis of how this all came into my lap with the ET connection. And so, you know, again, the first movie I saw in a theater was ET. I was 2 years old, 1982. So then fast forward, when I was 10, I was visiting Maine and I saw a ship with a friend, and it was just a light orb way in the atmosphere though, but it was doing the zigzag stuff, just all kinds of maneuvers to show that it wasn't just a satellite on a one line trajectory. Saw that. That was when I was 10. It wasn't until fast forward, I was 34. That was 2014 in Hawaii when myself and 3 other friends get out of the car at night at our house, and big orb, only about 100 feet up in the air, big glowing white orb. Some people said it was like a ball of plasma. No sound at all. You couldn't see any form other than it was a contained ball of light. Flew right above our heads, silent, and went into the distance. I get chills when I talk about it. That happened in 2014. But actually, I skipped a step there. In 2011 is when I started having my first ET dreams. So this is where it started for me, aside from 10-year-old vision or 10-year-old actual sighting. In 2011, I started having dreams where I was meeting with beings. Those ones that felt more real, like that type of dream. And it'd be a being that was like a
Was this
gray
when you were
alien.
doing the intense spiritual work though, like like a lot of meditating and getting up early and those kind of things? Was that when this stuff took off?
It was after that. But I had done all that. It was pretty soon after. So yeah, pretty fresh with that. And so I'm meeting with beings that were in different forms that were not human. You know, various beings, I could describe them. Some look closer to human, but different bone structures, and some not human at all, like a human gray hybrid, you know, amphibious beings with, you know, webbed fingers and from Sirius. So I started seeing these beings in my dreams, and they were talking to me and teaching me things and showing me things. I always had these reoccurring ships in my dreams where they had engraved what looked like some sort of ancient Greek writings, the best description I have for it. It'd be engraved on the outside and the inside. You know, they were showing me who we called some of these gods, like Greek gods, Egyptian gods. They were teaching me like, oh, this person, they were just talking to them like they were people. Like, oh yeah, this was so-and-so, and they came, they taught this, and they brought this and that. They're just like, it was like, yeah, it's just our homies. They were just doing this. And so these dreams stood out to me. Then in 2014, physical encounter, no drugs, no alcohol, clear mind, right above us. Then fast forward 2018, I continued to have dreams. And so they kept showing up in my dreams. And now there's been a gap between 2014 and 18. So in 2018, I was like, yo, Star Family. I started calling them Star Family. I was like, yo, Star Family. Like, I know you're real. You know, I've looked at all the ancient documentaries, ancient history. It's all written in stone. You can't deny that, you know, and I've seen you in my dreams. Now I've seen you in person. Like, I really need to see you again to really anchor that in, like how real you are, because time goes by. It doesn't matter how crazy of an experience you had. The rest of the world around you is not acknowledging these types of experiences. Yeah. It's easy to doubt yourself and doubt what happened. Like, oh, I was probably just made that up. Maybe that was a dream. So then in 2018, showed up 5 times. I get mad chills right now. 5 times, every single time with at least one person there to experience it, witness it with me. 4 times at our house in Hawaii.
The ships or the ships?
Yeah, showing up as an orb.
Now, okay, so we say ships. Do you think that some of these could have been like nuts and bolts ships or actual entities that look like fire and light and plasma?
Yeah, I know that exists too. There could be beings manifested in the same form. Yeah. But for me, they're ships. Okay. And I just know that because in the dreams, I just know it's like a knowing. Okay. And I had also been seeing the ships, like I mentioned, on the dreams and being on ships. So I knew that there were some ships coming in contact. And so, but one of the times at the house, I did see the structure. It's almost like, I don't know if they turn down the light. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
But I saw the structure.
Wow.
And it was just a disc. I don't know if it was a circle or square or triangle, because I saw one flat angle, one side of it, but it was very thin and fast and silent.
Was it like a cigar shape? Was it Tic Tac, they call it?
No, it was actually more like, you could say it was even a square. I could see one square edge, but it could have been a triangle, one flat edge of a triangle. Who knows? But I just saw one flat edge, me and a friend. It was silent. It had a white light, but it was like it was turned down. It was like dim. It was completely silent. And this was this occasion about an hour prior. I was like, let me try this out. I saw the Pleiades star system, the star cluster above me, which made me think of the Pleiadians, because they're one of the ones that have a strong presence here on Earth. So I said, hey, Pleiadians, I would love it if you come by for a visit.
Yeah.
And an hour later, that ship comes by right above the tree line at her house. And by then, this was already had happened multiple times. First time seeing the structure. So that's kind of how it happened for me. They started showing up in my dreams really heavily, making contact. And then I started asking for more contact. Like I wanted to see it to ground it as real. Yeah. And now I know it's just as real, tangible as us here and our phones and everything. It's like the government, U.S. government's acknowledged it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, my experiences were, very similar early on, getting into it and wanting it to be real, and then having countless like you. I mean, I had too much, too many experiences for it not to be. I had one, I was trying to make contact and I seen one and a sonic boom happened. Like it was like on the news or something. Like, I don't know, but part of me is like, damn, did I cause that? Like, did they come in here and do that? Like, it was just really loud boom, and I seen the ship, and like it was heard for like 40 miles or something at least, probably more, and it was on the news. And just so I remember seeing this in the news. So many weird. I've seen fleet. Have you seen a fleet yet? Like more like
most I've seen is two. Two is the most I've seen.
Yeah. What about during the day? Have you seen them during the day yet?
They were Pleiadian. I haven't seen them during the day yet.
Find out.
I've seen. Okay.
Get a star map on your phone and see, because the stars are still out there right now, right? You know what I'm saying? During the day. So get a star map where you can hold it up and look and figure out where the Pleiadians are, or the Orion. I'm really connected with both of those as well. Yeah. And put your intention on that during the day, as far as that area. Send those thoughts and intentions out, meditate. And dude, I've seen them during the day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Having those night experiences are awesome as well, because they're light, but it's kind of hard to figure out what they look like. But during the day, like, you can see a lot more like shape and structure and stuff. And I think in our minds too, it's like, well, it's easier to see them during the night. Not really many people catch them during the day, but when you take that same intention that you do at night during the day, you can have just as much as beautiful, insane encounters where you can see more. Maybe there was a fleet there, you just couldn't see it. You can only see the one that was lit up, and just because it was at night, you couldn't see it. But man, it's amazing. It changes your life, man.
Yeah, I've got a picture I can send to you.
For sure. Yeah. Send. I've tried to record them, but it's like always spur of the moment. And like, do you be in the moment and do you communicate, or you're like, let me get my phone and take a picture of you? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
that's it.
I mean, if we look at celebrities even talk about that, how like if they're at a concert and people are like, hey man, I just want to get to know you, shake your hand, and people are like, hey, let me get a selfie. And they get a selfie and they just walk off. It's like, and the celebrities are like, man, I don't even want to meet fans anymore because they just want a picture. I want to know your name. Justin Bieber's big on that, even with the paparazzi. You're like, man, put the cameras down. Let's have a conversation. What's your name, dude? Yeah. You're like taking pictures of him. He's like, what are you doing, man? Like, come on, let's talk, let's build, and so I would feel that they feel the same way. Let's not talk. We'll talk, but let me get a camera first so I can show everybody. You know what I'm saying? And the way to show everybody, there is ways to show everybody. It's through CE5, meditation, diet, all of these things where you can actually have your own encounter,
Yeah, this happens to a lot of people. I've heard in a lot of stories, like where people have asked me too, because I only have one picture out of all the encounters. They're like, why didn't you shoot a video? Why didn't you shoot it?
Yeah.
It's like in the moment, you're just taken by the moment. The one time I got a picture was we were actually set up with a tripod, me and a friend, taking astrophotography of the Milky Way in Hawaii. And she said, Star family, I would love it if you fly through the middle of the Milky Way for one of our shots.
Yeah.
Because she's so well connected to it too. So she asked that. Now, you take the shot, it's 30-second exposure. Hit the button.
Couldn't see anything
now
with the naked eye though, right?
Yeah, no, we probably would have seen this one, but we didn't. We were looking at a different part of the sky. When we got back and looked at the pictures, we saw that we captured it. Come into frame, turn right through the middle of the Milky Way, as she had said, and then out of frame. But every other time though, could have done. It was close, and you just don't go there. And the same thing happened with me when I was free diving with humpback whales. I was like, oh, I got to turn my GoPro on. I'm underwater, and I got to turn my GoPro. I was like, no, I just took in the moment.
It's almost too like I told my daughter about this. She's a teenager, and they got friend drama and stuff. I said, you got to watch out now, because people will try to like record your conversations and stuff so they can show other people. They're trying to get you to like gossip about somebody and record it and show up. Look, I told you he was talking about you. Like, you gotta be careful with people these days. And so set up hidden cameras. So again, with our Star family, it's like, hey man, I want to hang out. And you're really like secretly trying to record the conversation to show people, it's like, it really is that kind of, relationship. At least it turns into that, versus like, oh, I just want to get you on the camera so I can show people on the internet that you're real. It's like, hey, if they want to know that I'm real, put it in your songs. Tell them how to do it in the songs. Talk about it on the podcast. And if it's in them to encounter, then they'll come out for a CE5. They'll meditate and try to contact us and know for themselves. Video can be faked anyway. Most of the, it's hard to tell what's real and what's fake when it comes to a lot of this stuff.
It is hard
now.
to tell.
So, but you going out, having, initiating contact yourself through meditation, and they start telepathically communicating with you. Literally, hey, look over here. Here we are. Where? Boom. Oh, wow, I see you. Like that kind of stuff.
Exactly how it's happened. You don't
say,
even.
Hey, I need you to look up. Dude, I had one, I was driving, and when this stuff became real to me, I'm driving from my job like 12 hours a day, and I'm looking up the whole time while I'm driving, just through the country and the plains of Georgia and all that. And I'm just going, and I see a jet flying, and they said, yeah, that they told me in my mind, that jet is flying over here to scare us and make us leave. And so I looked at the jet, and then I looked exactly where the jet was heading, and it was a UFO during the day, and it let me see it. It blinked at me during the day, and it vanished, and the jet was headed directly towards it. And it was like, hey, so I seen the jet first and said, yeah, the jet's heading over here to scare us out. Look over here. Looked over, boom, there it was. Blinked during the day, it's gone. James Gilliland, who's somebody's work I really appreciate, and he has the East City Ranch and teaches contact and communion and stuff like that with enlightened beings. He has a story that just blew my mind. He says he was in his home meditating, and he was contacting the beings, and I think it was the Palladians and stuff, and he would have these open visions and go in deep in meditation and communicate with them and talk with them and stuff. He said his sister comes home, and she parks her car and she runs inside. She said, James, there's a UFO directly above the house. So he's sitting in lotus posture on his bed, having this conversation with these beings, and they're hovering right above the house as he's having this conversation with them as the ships come in. That's just amazing,
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we're becoming a galactic civilization again on Earth, and just the human mind can be fragile. So it's been a process of increased sightings, like the MUFON network, for example. They've all the documented cases that have been submitted to them have just been on a rise for years, like exponential growth in number of sightings. And then again, with the US government announcing it in 2017 and again in 2020. And then, I don't know if you heard this one, that the ex-Israeli space chief for 30 years. It was like, yeah, there's already Marses on base, and they're in contact with ETs, and but of course they just write him off as a quack. But
yeah, there's a somebody mentions the 1994. Okay, Cody, he says, have either of you heard about the fleet of spaceships that showed up at an elementary school in Africa? They talked to over 60 kids, telling them they were destroying the planet. I think it happened in the 60s or 70s. And somebody else says, yeah, it was 1994 in Zimbabwe. That's amazing. Have you watched that footage in those interviews with those kids? They've
Yeah,
all
yeah.
seen the
The
same
kids now
thing of
adults.
the
Yeah.
beings actually get off the ship and come out and communicate with them telepathically, and all the kids drew pictures of it and stuff. Like, it's
Oh yeah,
insane.
yeah. That was a cool one. Yeah, because those kids are still around. Well, they're adults now, but they're telling their stories. Yeah, that was a cool one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Truth is
Yeah,
stranger than fiction, man.
oh yeah, that's it. That's it. It is, and just do our best to enjoy it and keep a positive mind.
Yeah. We have to ascend to take our place amongst the stars, man. That's just what it is. There's a code of conduct. There's a spirituality that we're not welcome there right now. Unless you do the inner work and ascend and overcome your animalistic nature, where you can actually hold a conversation and not try to film. Have hidden cameras set up while you're talking. Like, you just want to make contact just so that, because you want to make contact, kind of thing. And weird thing. Like I said at the beginning, like, getting into like really dark occultism and stuff and summoning demons because I wanted to be friends and that kind of thing. And it's kind of come full circle for me now, and like, maybe I was doing it the wrong way or trying to contact the wrong entities. But I've seen, like, back then it was dark. It was some dark stuff that I opened up to, but now everything's just been so beautiful, and awe and wonder and creativity and love and peace, and take care of your body and take care of the planet. And it's just been all just beautiful messages and things that come across through this kind of spiritual lifestyle and connection with those beings. We would call
we
them
have a
guardian
divine
angels,
entourage. Guardian angels, yeah. And a friend told me the term divine entourage.
Yeah.
So it'd be your angels, your ETs, all the whole thing is like our.
Whoever
we got this
has
entourage.
my greatest good in mind, I set that intention. Whatever you are, I'm open. So as long as you ain't trying to hurt me, possess me, and those kind of things, we close the door on all that, and everything is like from the heart up. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's allowed me to have so many beautiful experiences, man. That actually show up. And you said there's a difference, and we got to be clear on this. That we go into the dream state and that kind of thing, and communicate and those kind of things too. But it's different when they show up with your eyes open and you can see them in the ships, and they actually come into our reality. And the angels can do that if they're like, they totally can. If they're communicating with you telepathically and in the dream state and in the ethers, they have enough power to show up. I will say that I believe that our government is at war with them. And just like that jet was going to try to, scare it out the sky or whatever, they're, I think that if they're physical ships, they run the risk of getting shot down, and things. So I think we have to be careful. And, when the time's right, they'll appear and say hello, because I don't think that the government really wants the truth of what they're letting a little bit out here and there, but the truth of what's really going on. And as far as that being said, I believe that they are the good guys and we are the bad guys, at least our government and people that are running the globe right now. So.
Yeah, the beings I've been in contact with in dreams and telepathically in waking life, it's only been good, supportive, and most importantly, self-empowering information. It's not anything that's putting the power into them. Yeah. They're not like
we're your gods, we're your creators. A lot of people get scared of that. A lot of Christians too. Those, they're trying to trick you into worshiping them. No, they're not. They're trying to trick me into taking care of my damn body. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Taking care of the planet.
Back to simplicity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what I found is that, it was a time period when I was really like wanted to see them, and I wouldn't see them. I was coming from a place of like almost this needing.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah. The more you relax around it, and of course release fear around it, the more likely to show up. Usually when you're not expecting it sometimes, unless you do these CI5 like events, of course that's come with a strong, beautiful intention. But yeah, if there's any kind of neediness that's disempowered, they won't show up.
Yep. Yeah, there's a childlike wonder and expectancy that comes with it. It's almost like placebo. Like if you want it, it's there for you. But how bad and why do you want it comes into play too,
Yeah, that's it.
So, man, I enjoyed this conversation, bro. We covered a lot of good topics and
Me too, man.
I love the dream stuff is right up my alley. The UFO alien stuff, creating the reality that you want for yourself that comes from tapping into the dream state. And you have courses and a bunch of other cool stuff where you teach people how to do this. Go ahead and give your website and where people can follow your work at.
Yeah, so website is soul-dreamers, so SOUL dreamers.com. You can just go there and you'll see a link to the course or /activated-dreamer.
And
then
what all do you
Instagram.
have? You have the Dream course, which is what?
Yeah, I just have the one course right now. I'm going to create some audio, some free meditations and stuff to connect with ETs. That's a work in progress. But right now I just have the course on dreaming. It's called the Activated Dreamer. It's a masterclass. It's 10 modules. Then also a separate mini course as part of that is on lucid dreaming specifically. So it goes all into the history of dreams, ancient cultures and dreams and how they use dreams. Like the Egyptians, for example, saw dreamings as the time, as when our eyes are open is when we're dreaming, like we were saying earlier. That's when our eyes are open. So yeah, just go into all the history about dreaming, power of dreams, how to interpret them, and start utilizing them for guidance every day.
Wow. Good stuff, man. Dude, thanks for coming on. I really enjoyed our talk, and we'll have to do it again, bro. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I look forward to it. It's been a good time. So thanks so much. Thanks for everyone that listened to our conversation.
For sure. Many blessings, bro.
Blessings.
Shalom, shalom. Tyrone Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Good talk, good talk, good talk. Listen, this stuff's right up my alley. I love it, especially the ET talk. I love the ET talk. I love it when I say it doesn't matter if it's ET talk. I love it when the supernatural becomes natural. When the veil is thin. When we go over there, you know, we every night when we sleep, we try to make contact. We go into, you know, communicate and do all types of things in the dream state. And there's just, you run the risk of doing a lot of stuff, just activating the imagination and creating that stuff in your mind. But I think the proof in the pudding is when they show up with your eyes open, where you're able to call in ships, where you're able to make contact and those kind of things. Changes the game. It becomes more than just something in your head or your imagination or something you heard in a movie. You're actually initiating contact with the angels, and they really exist. It's not even in your head. Heaven is not some place you go when you die. Heaven is really a place that exists beyond the stars, and these beings travel back and forth from heaven to earth, carrying messages and essences and a lot of other things as well. So to know that we have a relationship, or we can have a relationship with them, it's very interesting. And you know, a lot of that stuff, again, in the movies, we find out, like, listen, this stuff's real. You've been told that it wasn't real. Supernatural abilities, you know, the spirit world, angels, demons, all of that stuff. Everything that you can imagine is real. If you can dream it, if you can believe it, you can receive it. It can, even if it's just for you, even if you were by yourself and you're the only one who's seen it, the only one who believes it, it can show itself to you. But not just in the dream state. Physical manifestations. We've forgotten how connected we are with nature, with the entities, with the fairies and gnomes and those things. Like, all of that stuff is real, and we've forgotten it. We've become so technologically dependent and self-sufficient, and so that symbiotic relationship that our ancestors had has been released and forgotten. So movies like that trigger something deep down within your DNA. Angel says, can you talk about accessing your Akashic records? Well, I feel like that's where, you know, all of this stuff is stored, all the information, and we get downloads and we can actively go in. Listen, when you go in through the levels of meditation to go in and receive information from your higher self, the version of you that exists in the Akashic records, in the heavens, wherever you want to call it. The names don't matter. You don't have to get the names right. But you go in with that, you have to get the intention right. I'll say that. Names don't mean anything. It's the intention. But you go in to receive higher information, higher wisdom that the angels are keepers of. You'll encounter angels in that realm too. But there's inspiration, there's creativity for songs, for movies, for ideas, for humanity, and whoever is willing to do the inner work to go in and receive them, you'll get them. You'll be trusted with the information to bring it back. So you can go in intentionally through lucid dreaming, through breath work, and through meditation. We do that. I do this on Sunday morning. So we just started this last Sunday, a part of the Mystic Circle. And so it's one thing that we do. We go in through breath work, but we make sure that it's not just about, doing these exercises. It's literally about going in. So I lead those classes if you want to be a part of it. It's $10 a week, and I do it every Sunday, 9 a.m. Central, but you get access to a bunch more for that price too. Other people are going to be leading sessions and breath work and conscious breathing, conscious movements, prayer sessions, all kind of stuff that we're bringing to the table. All of our events and webinars, all that stuff you'll get. But even if it was just for the Sunday morning breath work that I'm leading up, if you want to be a part of that, I'd love to see you. TheMysticCircle.net. You can get access to last week's, which was really good. And so tapping in through the initiation, through the breath work, and through the green light and connecting. So it's been amazing. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you check it out. So TheMysticCircle.net. With that, I'm gonna say peace and shalom, guys. I really enjoyed this conversation. Reading the chat here, you guys brought some great points out. Man, I think I did a 5-hour stream Tuesday. I did 2.5 hours with the guest. Well, I did like almost 2 hours or something like that with the guest, but it was by myself. I kept going 2.5 hours, started interacting, and then the stream messed up, restarted my computer, came back for another 2.5 hours. It's 5 hours of streaming Tuesday. There was some good stuff, and I missed it. So I was able to interact with the chat, Q&A, and let you guys kind of ask questions and direct the stream, which is always fun. Always fun. So with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings, man. I hope to see you Sunday morning and over there on our platform, The Mystic Circle, TheMysticCircle.net. One more question here. Julian says, hey, how does one know the difference between angels and other beings, or are they one and the same? They're one and the same, for sure. Because the word angel only means messenger. So to say that there was a type of being called an angel, it's just a title. So again, with understanding the messages, a demon can be an angel too, because a demon is a messenger. They carry messages. And there's you open yourself up to these beings by the type of activity and the type of life that you live on the earth. If you're sinning, if you're lying, if you're cheating, well, there are beings that carry messages, and you open yourself up to that vibrational frequency, the lower level stuff. If you're helping people, doing alms, prayer, meditation, cleaning up your diet, all of that stuff, there are other beings that take notice, and they'll be around you and be on that frequency as well. And they carry messages too. And so the word angel just simply means messenger. So whether that's a Palladian that carries a message, whether that's Arcturians or fairies, gnomes, elves, they're all encoded with messages and with they have roles. They have things that they do, just like we do. So hope that helps. So don't think we have this weird notion of thinking of angels and demons, and there's two beings. There's angels and there's demons. But even with that, let's just go with that idea. Then you have the seraphim, you have the cherubim, you have the malakim, you have the Raphaim. There's all these different types of angels. You have, like, even if we're looking into like the book of Revelation, you got the 4 living creatures, and I mean there are so many different entities. And then demons, you have Beelzebub, you have unclean spirits, you have evil spirits, you have archons. Like when this hierarchy of entities exists, there's not just angels and demons. We tend to say, whether is this good for me or is this bad? Is this positive or negative? And then so when we talk about angels and demons, most of us are thinking about what is good and what is bad. An angel is good, a demon is bad. That's not necessarily the case, for sure, because there's lessons and things that demons are loosed upon your life that are going to teach you a lesson that only they can teach you. When you fall, pride cometh before fall. When you get prideful, you get tripped up, and a spirit is usually loosed to be upon you. Paul talked about it. He had a thorn in his flesh. It says a messenger of Satan that God would not take away. God allowed that messenger of Satan to buffet him, to buffer him, to make him better, to keep him humble. So we have to make sure that we're doing the inner work and make sure that we don't submit ourselves to anything against God's perfect will for our lives, which is to be blessed, to prosper, to be sound, have a sound mind, to be successful, to not lack in any level, whether it's finances, whether that's mental stability, whether that's your spiritual life, your relationships. We're supposed to be blessed in everything. And so making sure that we are responsible with our time, with our energy, with our efforts to help people, but not to stir up stuff, to live in the flesh, which is your animalistic, egoic nature, to hurt people, to lie, cheat, and steal, make other people's experiences on this earth harder. When you do that, you open up yourselves to those lower level entities. So, and there's a lot of other ways, but if you, James 4:7 in the Bible is one of my first scriptures that I had to learn. Submit yourselves to God, therefore resist the devil and he will flee. Make sure that you're submitted to God in every area of your life. Don't let any judgment, any ridicule, any backbiting, all that stuff, which is of your lower nature, which is of your father, the devil, those people who are into that, and that stuff rules them. They gossip, they slander, they want to see you bad. Misery loves company. Make sure that's not you. Make sure that you're doing the inner work and you're submitting your desires and your intentions and everything before the throne of grace, and having your old fleshly nature be renewed and transformed by the renewing of your mind as you're being transformed into the image of Christ, which is Christ consciousness, which is responding with love, which is radical acceptance, which is, showing grace and love to those who, quite frankly, don't deserve it. That's what it is. And so, you find yourself in a really cool place. Everything opens up to you. You're not a victim anymore. You're a victor. With that, I'm going to say peace and shalom. I'm going to teach you how to do that, at least how I do it, and share that with you. So I got a lot of stuff I'm working on to teach us how to move and articulate and flow around through this spiritual existence. That you are not just stuck in this, you're not a meat puppet. You are a luminous being. You're a light being experiencing life on earth. 100% essence, 100% spirit and soul, and 100% human at this moment. And there's rules and laws of how we engage with the spirit world and with one another. And everything that we do has spiritual implications. So with that being said, I'm going to say peace and shalom. Hope to see you on the Mystic Circle. Been working hard on that. TheMysticCircle.net. Go over there and check it out. Sign up for a 7-day free trial. With that, I'm going to say peace and shalom. We'll do it again very soon. Peace, peace.
Your way is so much higher than mine. So much higher than mine. So much deeper than mine. So much deeper than mine.
Well, that does it for this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the TruthSeekah podcast, head over to TruthSeekah.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/TruthSeekah.